Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another, and by another, I mean, another day of the SSL Challenge. We got 2 this week. I think we actually have another week later on. There's going to be a lot of SSL Challenge.
Yeah, we had the special 2-day week this week, but I think after this it's just going to be SSL Premier on Mondays, and then Saturdays are going to be the challenge days. But this is a nice treat. We do Thursday, Saturday. This is new for us, Rapid.
It is. I used to cast Thursdays with Wolf for our other SSL tournament, but now, just nice to have an audience for SSL Challenge, even though we were way over there in the studio. I know you guys don't know, but our backdrop just moves. That's what happens. This is not the actual background behind us.
I guess the stage looks a little bit different, but outside of that, I think it's a little bit harder to really know what's going on here. All the secret stuff of production we have going on in the Nexon Arena.
We should go up and grab the camera and then turn it around and give people a tour.
Oh, like over there?
Yeah, no, the big camera, yeah.
Yeah? Take it off the stand and
what we do is we go get the boom camera. That's how we do it.
They give him the wide shot of the whole arena. I think they've seen that one a bunch, though, in Rapid.
Yeah, well, probably for SSL Premier, but, yeah. Well, anyways, welcome back, everybody. This is SSL Challenge. We take things a little bit more casually here, especially when it comes to socks.
What do you mean? Oh, these socks. Yeah.
Oh my God, Brendan! What? What casual socks?
Oh,
casual and socks?
Well, today it was a little bit cold, so I just decided to put on some socks today.
It was a beautiful day outside.
Yeah, but it was a bit breezy, and
can't let the breezies get to your feetsies.
Yeah, I wanted to keep my feet protected. The chafing, it's not a good thing, guys. You don't want to deal with the chafing on your feet. So wear your thick socks.
Well, see,
under your sandals.
Here's what happened, right? We live in the Korean caster clothing meta, right? Which, especially for SSL Challenge, if you've seen our Korean broadcast, that gets a little bit out of control. So elsewhere in the world, right, where you can kind of wear whatever you want when you go to work, there was this movement put into action by guys like Day 9. It was the T-shirt and the suit jacket.
Oh, yeah.
And the blue jeans. Yeah. Now, that was the meta for a while, but I feel like finally, the time has come, Valdez, to innovate the caster clothing market ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
I like to think we are on the bleeding edge of that.
For sure. I mean, some people are just a little bit ahead of their time, and the rest of the world can't quite understand them. So.
Well, ByuN, Sue, and Bunny are ahead of their time, Valdez. You can see there on our screen. Yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Thursday, feels like yesterday, all of them picked up wins. Impact, Rogue, and Jockji took losses. And, of course, every win or loss does matter because the points decide whether or not you are in the upper part of the standings and if you get that coveted first spot that advances directly to SSL Premier.
Funnily enough, here in a competitive league, the points do matter. And so
true.
far, it is the fight to the first place. As you were saying, tie it at first, ByuN and Sue. You and I, we predicted ByuN to get out of this SSL Challenge in first place.
Going pretty well so far. And it might just keep going pretty well because tonight for our first matchup, we have ByuN facing off against Impact. And, Impact was the only player to ever take a game off of ByuN this entire season. So if anyone can do it, you would think that maybe perhaps it is he.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of these players that he doesn't exactly play like all the other top Zergs, and I would hesitate before we call him a real top Zerg yet. I mean, I know SSL Challenge is the best tournament in the world, but he's still got a lot of ways to go, especially after his performance against Bunny on Thursday. I wasn't happy with that one, Rapid. That one left a mark for me.
To be fair, I don't think maybe Bunny was happy with that one either. That was an odd series.
A dissatisfying series for everybody involved.
I feel like you can say that very confidently. I'm going to just reference you on that one. Mm-hmm. But, I feel like for Impact, he still has a lot of proving to do. Certainly when he was on SKT, he came out with a couple of nice Pro League wins for them. I was like, oh, okay, well, you can put this guy in. I guess it works. But, now is a very different time, and he has to face off against other players who are, for the most part, all practicing independently, with the exception of maybe the Jin Air guys, maybe other players that are on other teams. And while Impact does have the rest of the Dead Pixels squad to kind of help him out, I don't know. I feel like the level of practice that everybody else is getting is just really, really high right now, especially when you consider kind of the top of the tier list, which is guys like ByuN, who is on a great team, Expert. Rogue is on Jin Air, and well, I guess Sue might not have a team, but who says no to practicing with Sue? Actually nobody.
I don't think anyone would say no to practicing with Sue, basically.
I might say no
unless
to
you have a
practicing with
matchup.
Sue.
Yeah, you're like, no.
No, I know how this is going to go.
I know I'm better than you, so I just don't want to make you feel bad, so I'm not going to play against you.
Exactly.
That's rapid strategy.
You got me figured out.
I like that strategy. It's pretty
good. Strat.
But yeah, I mean, Sue, he definitely is getting practice, and I feel like he gets a buff whenever he's really passionate, right? We saw that against Rogue. Not that he wasn't passionate or angry in his matches in GSL, but we saw the next level, right? The inner Sue, where his true power came out.
You got to see him take off those Rock Lee weights. He untied him walking in the booth, and it was dirty. He just owned up Rogue. Now, granted, the series may have been 3-0, but the games were actually quite fantastic. So highly recommend going back and watching Sue versus Rogue in GSL on Thursday and SSL. Both series were fantastic. And, now we get a chance to see what I would kind of predict being the top 3 players versus kind of the bottom 3 players coming into this series or into this season, play off against each other tonight. Last week we did have some really barn burners of matches, but tonight you really have an overdog matches in every single matchup tonight. It's better than having updog matches.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be up to the lower level players to really come into tonight and have something special prepared for the best of 5. I think because it is a best of 5 and it's not a best of 3 like Premier or like GSL, it's going to be a lot harder for them to come up with quick upsets where it's okay, one game they trick the guy and they win, and then the next one it's a cheese and it's oh crap, how did he beat me? That's okay. It's today, Stats and Hurricane. It's
oh my God.
Hurricane took one game in both of those series, and both of them were kind of weird series, but it was he actually did win the games, and we were all is Stats actually going to get out of the GSL in before the round of 8? And Hurricane, he made it really close, and that's that best of 3 kind of, it just makes it so close and possible for these underdogs to actually upset. But tonight it is going to be best of 5s. It is going to be a lot harder for them to upset, but I'm really looking towards maybe Jockji to turn up tonight. I feel like his matches against ByuN don't really show how much better he's been doing this season compared to Season 1.
I would say that, for me, at least in SSL, Rogue still really has to prove himself, so we'll get a chance to watch him later. But let's talk about our first matchup of the day. Of course, it features this man on your screen. It is Team Experts ByuN, and you can already see here his scoreline looks fantastic. This is only for the second stage as well. He, like I said earlier on, went 4-0 in his previous series and never dropped a game except against his opponent tonight. That is going to be... I thought I was going to time it better than that, but it's Impact.
Spoilers.
I know, right? It's not like we announced that or whatever.
I actually had no idea.
Wow, Valdez.
I actually...
Are you exposing yourself?
I didn't know that this was going to be Impact until you told me it was. Okay, here he is. Impact 0-1. You can see that he is 2-3 in set score.
Right.
But he had Bunny on the ropes so many times.
He had him dead to rights in a couple of those
games.
In
3 games.
It was a little bit... it was a great night to beat Bunny and, be rooting for comebacks. That was certainly true.
Yeah.
Well, now he has to play against definitely another tier of Terran player in ByuN. So this is where we really get a chance to see exactly what Impact is capable of seeing through those giant fake glasses.
That's I want to get a pair of those myself.
I'm pretty sure they're actually
maybe we
real
could
glasses.
add this. Yeah, I think they
so
are.
I know a couple of friends that wear those exact glasses but without lenses in them, and that's just next level. I don't understand how the lengths people go for fashion out here. I'm sure Impact, I don't want to make fun of him. It's just not often that you get to see the Zerg who lived playing in SSL.
Well, I understand why he goes for those kinds of glasses, because Koreans out here, they all wear the same kind of glasses.
They're super popular out here, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, they either go for those kind of glasses, but smaller, or they go for the black rim glasses like ByuN is wearing.
Yeah.
So I can understand how he's trying to get away from the rest of, just the normal people, the normies out there, you know what I'm saying, guys? So he's trying to differentiate himself. Anyway, we do have a bunch of maps here. It is going to be Frost, Whirlwind, Ascension to Ire, Abyssal, Reef, and then Overgrowth to finish it off.
That's right, Valdez. Good job.
Yeah, I read the things that were on the screen, and here we are.
Hey, half of being a caster, while it's like, I don't know, I don't want to do like a Fort Minor rap for this, but it's like you got to be able to read things on screen. You got to be able to use
That's
your voice and stuff.
You
got to be able to look at the camera sometimes.
I don't do that very well.
Well, yeah, we're working on that with you, Valdez. But
I do the shifty eyes. My eyes like to wander,
Whoa, what are they wandering to, Valdez?
Like the huge audience of chairs we got here in the studio
I always
tonight.
get distracted by the dank memes, man. That's my shortcoming. But let's go ahead and get into our first game of the night. It's ByuN versus Impact. And to introduce the two players whose names I just said, let's fly a better fly into our first game. In the upper left-hand corner of Frost, it's our blue Terran player, Team Experts ByuN.
And in the purple trunks, Impact.
There we go, playing for Dead Pixels. I heard my voice echo a little bit there, Valdez.
Did you really?
Well, yeah, this is actually turned up, I feel like, pretty loudly. At least it is for me.
Turned up to 11 tonight, man.
That's what we did.
We're going all in.
We broke off the knob, man. We're doing it live.
Yeah.
So if anybody asks in chat if this is live or not, yes, it is. Think about that one for a little bit. Okay, so we're starting a low ground wall off for here for ByuN, and they are spawning cross positions. He is spawning cross positions against Impact. So if Impact decides to get super greedy, like 3 hatch gas then pool, I think he's going to probably be okay. Of course, he doesn't know that yet, but that's just me saying everything I know with my special eyes.
Yeah. Again, that's one of the things you mentioned earlier that casters have to do is read the screen and say stuff that's on it.
Production tab, our savior in that regard.
Yeah.
Just tells us what's going on.
I wonder what it's like to cast Brood War. I know you've done it with Wolf and Tasteless and Artosis, obviously.
I would say that nowadays it is much easier because you get a income tab and a supply tab, but did not always used to be that way, certainly. So here we go. We've got a expansion coming down for ByuN. It's of course a little bit after Impact's expansion, and this is actually really interesting. I don't see this exact construction all that often.
Yeah, this is definitely a bit weird. He's putting his big buildings down at the front. Maybe he's scared of aggression out of Impact. This definitely does make it easier to hold off stuff like Baneling attacks because you have those gigantic things at your wall. The only thing is that obviously the add-ons will be on the outside, which is kind of annoying if too many lings get to the front there and actually can begin picking at that.
Okay, yeah, those Zerglings in place to catch maybe a potential Reaper coming out there, and it will be at least a little while before ByuN gets all the information he wants, checking out that watchtower. But I actually like the way the game is shaping up right now, Valdez. It's pretty easy, pretty non-confrontational. These are the games I like to play.
It's very Korean, They don't like the confrontation.
Get me into like a 2-minute micro battle, and I am donezo. But if I can play it out a little bit more, at least I get to play the game a little longer. Double Hellion is the opener for ByuN. It's probably going to be double Hellion Banshee. The Reaper and the Hellions will get to scout the map, get that map presence, and be able to, I guess, kind of control most things. And then, of course, the Banshee follow-up, or maybe a Raven. See what comes out. Oh, Liberator. Okay, mixing it up.
I like it. It's definitely very annoying on this map, especially at that third base location. Can be hard to get some defense over there with just a Spore. Also, if you can sneak it back into all the way into the back, into the main, definitely can also get a nice bit of damage done.
Poking at the front here. I guess I probably could have told that it was just going to be a either a Viking or a Liberator, because I think that with the add-ons on the outside, you probably don't want to put your starport down there and lift it all the way down. So it's just going to be the Liberator. I don't think you really want to poke down Overlords with those, but it can get across the map a little bit ahead of schedule. But these cross positions are really just going to set us up for a pretty long game.
Yeah, we're just going to have to chill a little bit. I'm assuming you saw the GSL groups.
I did.
Or the matchups, rather, for the
round of eight. Oh, round of 8 is just the most stacked.
So ridiculous.
GSL I've ever seen. Like,
I think the weakest one is like SOS Solar, and that's saying something.
Maybe. Yeah, and even
that's saying a lot.
Those guys can set us up for the sickest games. You never count SOS out.
Yeah.
GSL groups are going to be pretty sick.
ByuN's got himself a matchup. I forget exactly who he's going up against. Do you remember?
Innovation, I believe.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I believe so. I was watching WCS Montreal qualifiers for North America earlier on today. That was pretty eye-opening. Got to watch Scarlett play some Protoss. Get some memes out there.
That's nice. I saw the meme, that one that's pretty popular nowadays. The guy walking with his girlfriend looking back at the other girl. And it was like Scarlett was walking with the Zerg girl, and then she was looking back at the Protoss, like,
yeah, that's
liking that Protoss.
Hey, yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. We don't get too many Protosses here in SSL Challenge, Valdez. This is a Protoss-free zone right now.
Exactly 0 in the second stage, but I think we should talk a bit about this attack that is coming. We do have Impact on 39 drones looking to attack the front. I don't know if this was sparked because he saw the building placement and knew that he could potentially snipe this stim, but he definitely will have a nice spot. And look at that, takes out the tank on the high ground immediately.
Yeah, and actually,
whoa, look at this.
Ling drop in at the same time, I believe. That's what we saw there. Or did they didn't just run through? Maybe I just totally missed that.
I think that must have been a drop. I mean, there's no way they could have run through, and the entire economy in the main base is now gone, and there goes the stim too, so good start here for Impact in his games against ByuN.
Wow, ByuN actually avoided one of those biles and saved that Liberator. It lives to siege another day. Now, he won't have vision on the high ground forever because this Raven, or the Viking was able to kill off the Overlord scouting the high ground, so that can be kind of a safe space for this next tank, but we already saw him take out one, and I think he has another Overlord in the area, maybe? Maybe not. I can't actually see down there on our tiny little mini map.
He's got one right there.
Either way, this is rough town for ByuN to be in, and he's going to have to get flashbacks of the last time that Impact beat him with a very aggressive early rush he just was not ready for. This is, of course, a different variety, but Impact's getting a lot of damage done.
Yeah, you can see that he follows up with a ton of Lings, a huge swell of them, and it does pay off. I was questioning the play. I thought maybe just go straight into drones. You already did so much damage in the main, but you can see that the follow-up was enough to actually break the back of ByuN here. This is just irreparable damage right now. Another 14 SCVs go down.
And yeah, this is just so much. You can see the Marines trying to clump the SCVs and bring them towards the siege tank that landed Viking, also really, really helping out. But of course, on the other side, Impact already has a third base up and running. He's got, what, 5 gas going at the same time. And I mean, this is just such an insanely strong position for Impact to be in. To be fair, we should point out, ByuN did go triple CC. So he's got a bunch of mules, a bunch of SCVs. He does have that siege tank out, and I think he'll repair the wall. You know, I'm always a little bit scared at calling games like this. I believe last Thursday we had one that was just, it was Bunny versus Impact.
Yeah.
And I was just never sure when Impact was going to stop the all-in, and he just never did, and eventually busted Bunny.
This guy is definitely one of those suit types where it's like, or dark, you know, where it's they see blood in the water and they're not scared to go for it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're going to put your buildings on the low ground and put your add-ons right there? You want to give me a free stim to take away? I guess I'll just go for, you know, a big aggressive attack at 39 drones. It wasn't like a full all-in, but it was, you know, almost basically all-in. If that didn't do damage, he would have been so far behind. And yeah, I mean, you can see what he's following up with here once again. On 3 bases, goes to 65 drones, and it's nothing but roaches from here.
Yeah, you don't see a whole lot of drones in production. It's 6 Overlords at once, just because he lost quite a few of them earlier on, and then also to this Viking that's running around. So gotta watch out for those Overlords, protect them. But yeah, now that all those Overlords are popping, like you said, Valdez, it's nothing but roaches. You have range upgrade. Wow, 10 more on the way. We're speed about to finish, and I mean, Impact is just in such a good spot. On the other side, we should mention that ByuN has actually gotten a his worker count back up to a respectable number. He has also just now taken his third base, but the big question is, can he defend it against what I can only imagine is going to be an almost maxed out Zerg army?
That looks to be the play here from Impact. He's up to 162 right now, and the only thing I could really criticize so far in this series was that he took a very late fourth base. I think he could have dropped that down earlier and even been more greedy, but at this point, I don't think it's going to matter because ByuN just barely has any units, and you can see the army that Impact is carrying.
Yeah, he can too. That is not a... Oh, no, not like this, ByuN. I guess he was working on sieging siege tanks or pulling the SCVs back from third base, but losing an entire medevac when he just barely has anything to scrape together is heartbreaking damage.
Yeah, Impact's like, sweet third base you got there. You got to go ahead and lift that now, buddy. So, does get that lifted. Is going to go for the attack now. The Corrosive Bile's coming down
but
on the first tank.
He did snipe that Overseer, though, so no more high ground vision for Impact. I'll have to pull up something else to get that vision, like, say, an Overlord in the main.
He does it again.
Wow, he's morphing to... Those are just Overseers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they were drop Overlords for a second. I was like, whoa. That's one way to lose the game, is you lose to full Overlords.
Maybe he just wants to play hop on pop. Just go,
That's not an actual game, Valdez.
It's a book.
What? There's no possible way that's real.
Hop on pop? Isn't that Dr. Seuss? I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe it's in one of his books.
I clearly had a deprived childhood. That was not something I've ever been exposed to.
It's definitely something that I have read before. Either way, it doesn't look like he's going to hop on pop this time around, and that's going to be it. GG.
Have you ever heard of the Mandela effect, Valdez?
Yeah.
I feel like that's possibly what's at work here.
You never heard of Dr. Seuss?
No, I've just never heard of whatever it was that you...
What about Dr. Seuss?
I've heard of Dr. Seuss. Okay. I'm a big fan of not only redfish, but also bluefish and one fish and two fish. How
about the brown cow?
How now, brown cow?
Yeah, how
Green
now,
eggs
brown
and
cow.
ham.
Yeah.
Visited Whoville many a
good.
time.
What was your favorite children's book? Did you have a lot of books growing up?
Oh, yeah. We were huge readers. The Golden Books series. Have you guys ever read Golden Books growing up? They're a little bit old.
I was talking about, like baby books.
So there's this Finnish author named Sven Nordqvist that wrote and illustrated his own children's books. And in every single little picture, because it was like a picture page and a word page, the pictures were insanely detailed. He had these little tiny like sock goblins that would just like be everywhere, like little
sock goblins,
cutesy little monsters that he would put in his... I don't know. There's your answer. Berenstain Bears were also pretty good way back in the day. That's another Mandela effect.
Yeah.
It's all coming full circle.
I thought it was with an E, but I think it's actually with an A.
I'm pretty sure it's an E, man. I know it's out there
I thought
somewhere.
It was an E, too.
Somebody found a VHS that said it's E, man. That's all I'm trying to say.
It's a fake. Either way, we do have actually an interesting series going on. Impact, with this aggressive build, takes game number 1. And we are going to be jumping onto this next map for game number 2. Don't have it on this CG, but you guys will soon find out what the map is. Here it is. It is Whirlwind for game number 2.
That's not really a whirlwind sound, but here we go. We are flying into the base of ByuN. There he is. Looked a little bit shaky losing that medevac for free against this guy. This is Dead Pixel's Impact. All right.
AKA Peepers.
Yeah, Peepy McGee. There we go.
Yeah, that's him, yeah. Very Korean name, very traditional. You get that a lot
that's
over here.
Definitely what I was going for there, Valdez.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here we can clearly see the barracks on the high ground, Valdez. I feel like that's a pretty good place to put it.
Yeah, it's an improvement over game number 1, that's for sure.
Yeah, one thing that does definitely need to be improved for ByuN is scouting information. You saw him poke out with Double Hellion Reaper early on, and he had that Liberator built. I'm like, okay, well, turns out just basically none of that does very well against Roach Ravager all in. And you wouldn't necessarily expect to see that quite so early on a big map like Frost, but Impact had a great timing, and it just was not scouted in time. The Overlord drops into the main. We're also really cute little hallmark.
Yeah,
Game one.
I said it before the series started that I hoped that Impact, with his wonky builds that he's already shown us, would come into tonight against the favorite to win all of SSL Challenge, or at least get out in first place because we don't have really a playoffs or a finals, that he would come in with some kind of crazy builds. And so far, it hasn't been totally wonky, but definitely something more aggressive. He's definitely respecting ByuN and saying, I don't really want to go into a long macro game against this guy. I don't blame him.
Hey, I mean, it's worked both times. Impact has gone for these early rushes. They've paid off, and you really just can't fault him for continuing to try it. I mean, a lot of people want to, think of nasty names to call people who rush a lot, but I'm like, okay, well, isn't the goal of the game not to win at the end? This guy only wins by cheesing, so he only wins.
So he only wins.
Yeah, it's okay, well, I get what you're trying to say here. He's a winner, and you're somebody talking about him that's not at his level. It's all coming together.
It's all those, gold level players who they want to play macro, they want to improve their skills, but they haven't really gotten the scouting down yet, and they're angry when they lose to a couple of cheesy builds on the ladders. So it's totally fine. The best players in the world always like to mix in cheese.
That is very true. ByuN got a great scout there, saw the third hatchery on the way. I think this map probably Impact wanted to spawn cross positions like he did last time, but won't quite have that luxury. But should be ready for pretty much everything. He had the Overlord scout in the correct direction, so that will at least get to ByuN's base in time to see what's going on.
It's going to be an important scout here because ByuN is going for that 2 racks into, the double drop, the double medevac with the 16 Marines and STEM. And this is a build that really launched ByuN into a lot of his success early on in even 2016. And definitely does bring it back from time to time when he wants a little bit more comfort.
Yeah, the 2-1-1 build, you guys have heard it called that. This is exactly what it's referencing. 2 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, and see what he builds out of the starport. A lot of times you just reactor medevacs out of it. I think that's what I see most often, but we've actually seen ByuN go for early Vikings a lot, get some value out of those as well. Zerglings versus Reaper. Oh, wow. Okay, picking off an SCV. Don't want to get too greedy in there. Ooh, Impact saves everything.
Nice control. You can see he's really on point with his micro so far. I think he did get a good scout of exactly how many Marines were out just yet for ByuN. So you can see he's producing 3 queens at a time. That's not for no reason. He's going to need those in the defense. He's going to mix them with the Lings here to deal with this first couple of drops out of ByuN.
All right, wow, 14 Zerglings on the way. That's just a high number, Valdez, and you can already see a superior number of them pressuring the front. There's only 1 or 2 Marines behind this. I think there's only 1, so this drop is going to need to deal damage as ByuN's starting to take it at home. He's going to have to pull SCVs to repair that front if he actually does. We don't get a look at his base just yet, but he is forced to also drop before pressing in to Impact's base.
Taking a careful approach. You don't always have to do a ton of damage with this kind of drop. You do want to force out a bunch of Lings and Queens to be made. You can see that Impact is still on 43 drones so far, so he's been really stunted in his economic growth, and you can see ByuN also going for a secondary drop as a follow-up here.
Okay, well, he'll need a secondary drop because that one is not going to work out. Here we go, Overlord right in perfect position to scout it out, and there we go. Already Spore Crawler, a few Zerglings in perfect position.
He's got a Widow Mine in there, so got to be careful. We know the power of the Widow Mine if it gets that miracle shot off, but you can see, as you were saying, Rapid, this is going to be pushed way away.
There's just nowhere to drop. That's going to have to be the rare scouting medevac. And
yeah, my favorite.
Yep. Picking off a couple of creep tumors is ByuN, limiting that the usage of the Queen energy early. It's pretty nice to do.
Now, because Impact has held this off very well, I'm curious to see the timing of his 4th base, because we've seen him have trouble getting that down in good time before. So would like to see it sometime eventually here. Looks like he wants to go for Hydras first.
Well, behind this pressure, I mean, ByuN is just kicking into high gear with the big Terran macro machine. This is that, what was it that they called innovations macro? It's like his machine economy, something like that. But it was very, very potent. So you need to put on pressure at this point because you're spending all of your minerals back home, building 3 racks, building a command center, building all of these reactors, just getting your infrastructure ready to power your next big push.
You guys might have noticed that Impact doesn't have Baneling's speed just yet. Those Banelings were just walking. He is saving a bunch of his gas for other stuff, even though he is on that lair tech, obviously, with the Hydra Den he just finished. A curious choice. I think it might have been a mistake. I think in general against Terran, you always, like 99% of the time, you want Baneling speed.
Yeah, one thing you could see here is maybe he's just not committing a lot to Banelings and he wants to burrow a lot of them. You see burrow in production, but yeah, it actually does not look like that's the case, and that, in fact, it's probably a miss there. I mean, Baneling speed's just always going to give you value.
It's always going to be fantastic, and like, you think he would have noticed, right? I mean, he just had a fight where he used all of his Banelings, and they weren't rolling, and they weren't fast. But he's still not going for it. He wants to save all of his gas for Hydras, I suppose.
Yeah, hey, there are a lot of great timings, Valdez, that you just need that extra gas for, so that's what I'm going to think. Okay, well, there it is, Baneling speed. Yeah, so see, if those Banelings were rolling right now, it would already be into ByuN's Marines.
Oh, the Widow Mines, we got to see that. That was close. That was very close.
A lot of value on that Widow Mine. Lots of Banelings and Zerglings, and you know, we never get to see exactly how much stuff Widow Mines kill if they die as well.
Yeah.
Unsung heroes. TPZ. Well, I think they get sung about quite a bit. Oh, ByuN. Oh, look at him kill those Banelings. They don't even stand a chance.
We see Baneling speed is on the production tab now. I think we can successfully, well, certainly not really successfully, but we can call it a mistake here.
But I did such a good caster job talking about the reasons he could have foregone.
We all did. We gave it our best shot, but in the end, Impact was the one who failed to get it. So this push from ByuN is very consistent.
Look at this. It just looks so abusive when he does it so well, targeting each and every Baneling that tries to connect. No Baneling speed. Just want to say that one more time. Yeah, there it is. Okay, our observer points it out, and that means we're totally vindicated, guys.
The green casters, they were talking about PD Gahi, no doubt, so they missed that one.
Oh, clearly, yeah. This is the sole topic of their conversation. Nice little run by, counterattack coming through. It's going to stop any hopes of a 4th base to come up there. Or at least theoretically it should. Did he burrow a Zergling at that location? I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has a Zergling burrowed right there. Now, scanning to continue to try to put pressure here onto this 4th base for Impact. Being very annoying. There's a Widow Mine, there's a Marauder that was up at the top of the ramp, and the 2 Liberator Siege. ByuN's just got a pretty safe space here.
The safest space for him right now. Just chilling on that ramp. Tons of Hydras, though. This is where a lot of that gas was going.
And Hydras can really pick away at Marines as they try to poke up and down. Now, here come the Baneling Buzz. ByuN right on top of it. Loses a few depots and that one poor Marine, but he'll be okay.
Yeah, I wonder if he wasn't expecting that there, or rather if he was expecting that, because he had all of his units in position just waiting, and okay, here we go, look. Counterattack from behind.
Yeah, he's trying to come behind. There are a couple of Widow Mines, but they don't get the greatest of hits. That Liberator should be easy to pick off, but ByuN actually seeing that he has enough to wrap around and try to punish Impact for venturing off of creep.
The Lings coming forward, looking to bait those Widow Mines, but unsuccessful in the end. And he needs more Banelings. I mean, you're not going to rely on only these Hydras. You take a look at the upgrades 2-2 to 1-1-1 on the side of Impact.
And you'll notice that, okay, so Impact is throwing away a lot of units. He is forced to expend Zerglings, Banelings, Hydras, just to defend this 4th base. He has 80 drones, so the economy behind this is just the sickest. Look at all these Widow Mines! Killing off so much. Hits on the Zerglings in the front, the Hydras in the back. Lots of value there, but of course behind it, another counterattack from Impact will cancel 3-3.
That is fantastic. He's given himself a chance here. It's still not looking good, but need to chip away bit by bit. to have any chance of getting back into this game. He did just complete melee attacks +2.
Trying to drag those Widow Mines into the friendly fire, but not able to hit them. Looks like the last engineering bay did survive, so the third weapons upgrade is completing. But the armor is not. Look at ByuN. He's just going up and down, up and down. You know how you have an elevator push? Well, this is the other kind of elevator where he just goes up and down and up and down. Oh, he let it burn down.
Yeah.
He's going to lose his third upgrade and be forced to pull back.
And he got hit by a big Baneling hit, too. A couple of mistakes that, you were talking about the 80 drones.
Yeah.
This economy is gigantic for Impact right now. A couple of mistakes. Even if he does lose that 5th base, he's not out of this game. The army supplies are very damning right now for our Zerg player, but he's holding on, man. He is definitely holding on.
Well, and you have to also notice the 4th base is just coming down for ByuN. He only just a little bit ago scanned to kill that thing that was burrowed to stop the 4th base, so just now getting that out. Nice scan, actually will take out a lot of those burrowed units. But oh, if ByuN can catch all these infestors, whoa, that's it. Doesn't matter how many drones you have behind that, you lose all your army, you lose the game.
That one ended very abruptly. Impact committed to an Ultralisk Den and 4 infestors that didn't have the energy and just didn't have enough stuff, because he kind of felt a little bit comfortable as we were kind of getting in our cast, like, hey, maybe he's actually got a chance, but no, ByuN shut him down. So.
Yeah, as soon as all the infestors popped out, of course, there's no Kydarian amulet for infestors yet. Potentially soon, TM. Yeah, as soon as the infestors didn't have the ability to go for the fungals that he needed, I want to say ByuN just finally pounced on him and found the opportunity he was looking for. Even though he did take that damage back home, losing both of his engineering bays, ByuN knew exactly where his focus was supposed to be. If you guys blinked and missed that, then...
That was a ghost.
That's the Easter egg of tonight's SSL challenge.
I think we all saw him, though.
I'm pretty sure everybody saw him.
He was sprinting, though.
That was the fastest I've ever seen an APD run.
An APD?
An AD.
APD.
Well, everybody just calls them ADs, but it's Assistant Production Director, right? Maybe it was an FD.
Oh.
What goes up must come down, man.
Yeah, I think that's an FD.
I think we might.
Floor Director.
There we go.
Yeah.
I always thought it stood for Final Destination. I was like, wow, everybody here plays Melee. I don't know.
It's not very cognizant of what's going on right now in front of him. Yeah.
No audience. We still get people in front of the camera. How does it work? Nobody knows.
Well, we do have this series continuing.
All tied up, though.
It's all tied up, just like a present with the bow on it.
Well, this is a bow of death. I am not very good at that.
Next level jokes on the SSL challenge here.
Here we go, our 3rd game, but definitely not our final game of this series. It is a best of 5, and both these players showing that they can definitely play their styles very well. Let's get into game number 3.
Fly, better fly, Jin Air. And down in the bottom right, in the blue-colored paint, it is ByuN.
In the pink-colored shirt as well. In the purple-colored Zerg pieces, up in the upper right-hand corner. This is purple, right? It's not pink?
No, it is purple.
Okay, all right.
You call them pieces for some reason. That was funny to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's just like Reese's Pieces.
And I think we didn't get a camera shot because
Did we not
this drone...
introduce Impact?
They were just like, yeah, he's that other guy. I think he plays like Zelnaga Race or whatever. Anyway.
Okay, well, we should point out what Impact is doing, and perhaps the reason we didn't introduce him, he is skipping his natural. So theoretically, because this is a 2-player map, you can just scout that instantly, and if ByuN doesn't see anything there, he could get really scared predicting a rush.
Yeah, looks like he is going for this 3 hatchery, of course, into the gas pool. It's going to be one of those greedy builds you were talking about earlier on. And again, Ascension to Ire is a very big map, and ByuN is going to go for what looks like a barracks into Marine into Expand. So no Reaper comes out. ByuN, he's been skimping on the scouting, and Impact's beginning to take notice.
Yeah, so this is a really great opening for Impact. This is basically the greediest opening you can get. It's the latest pool timing. If you take any little bit of damage right now, it's just going to be some very sad drones defending it.
I'm partial to the 4 hatchery before a pool build myself.
Where you just don't get to play StarCraft for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's the 20 minutes no rush build.
Ah.
But you got to make like 4 macro hatcheries too.
Oh,
and, like take all the bases on your side of the map first.
There you go. I mean, that's only fair, right?
Run away!
Da.
Marine might pay off for ByuN here. He's got a second one.
He's got a buddy. Does he scan to kill the Overlord? I don't think that's worth it. Guys, never scan to kill Overlords. I see it happen all the time.
Yeah, don't do it.
It's just never worth it. Okay, yeah. Just get your buddy to go on the high ground.
No lings out because of the builds.
Exactly, and maybe this is what tips ByuN off and makes him think that there's some shenanigans afoot. Is that there are no Zerglings that'll punish him, although I guess he's kind of reacting, saying, oh, I got lucky, time to run back before the Zerglings come. Well, no, the first 2 Zerglings are just coming out.
See, this early reactor 2 is going to mix it up now. That gives him an early 4 Marines that he definitely could get cheeky with in terms of dropping, but he might just keep them at home to deny some more scouting. Just keeping them there for now.
Might want to poke in with, okay, well, there's just 1 Hellion, and Impact should see that. Sometimes you can like save that, but it is a little bit interesting. I mean, reactors can produce 2 units at a time. They don't always have to be the same units. Our observer is pointing out that it's a Cyclone and Hellion.
That's crazy.
It really is, man. Just ByuN. Nobody does this. It's never been seen before in the history of StarCraft.
Who is this guy?
Where does he get off thinking he can make this build work?
He gets a Byuppy and he thinks he can do this?
I tell you, man.
He's going to be delaying his stim for a while. He's using the barracks as just like a, I don't know, an add-on maker. Makes the reactor, makes the tech lab, switches off. He's going to make another tech lab, no doubt.
Look at him dropping to kill this Overlord. What a guy. He's taking every little advantage that he can. And for Zergs that don't get Overlord speed early, it can actually really delay any of their scouting information coming up that would see things like this Cloak Banshee on the way or this drop coming in.
Yeah. It's a good point you make because Impact is sitting with 0 Overlords on the map. He has no idea what's going on. He's just like, okay, I guess we have to defend against stuff, maybe? Or should I make drones, or I don't know.
Cheeky little drop into the main, trying to snipe the Queen. Doesn't quite get it. Hellions out on the map. Scout everything, see that there's no 4th base, but does know that 3rd base is there. And here's the first Banshee out on the map.
I think I saw 1 Spore Crawler be made, and there is a second one on the way. So he is at least being very safe when it comes to defending any kind of weirdness from ByuN.
I really like this series, Valdez. It's been very iconic for both of our players' play styles, but ByuN's going to hit a super scary timing here. And yeah, there's 4 Queens. Lots of Overlords have been killed. That's already maybe 300 minerals worth of Overlords, and it starts to add up.
There's the cloak. He does reveal it. Scan comes down just to see what's back there and also to clear up this creep.
Wow, he's actually going to use the Banshee to poke upwards and try to limit some of the creep spread between the bases. This could really go a long way to isolating this 3rd base, which might be where he wants to poke in. Now, I thought he had a lower depot there, but no, he's just building a depot to finish off the wall.
That tech lab is just awkwardly there. It's part of the wall.
Yeah.
Serves no use anymore.
I'm not sure what that real purpose is. Maybe they try to Baneling bust the wall in the future, and the tech lab is the only thing that stops it all this. No one expects the tech lab wall off. Except
ByuN.
Oh, well, yeah. Obviously.
He was the true mastermind, the architect, quite literally. We do have this Baneling Hydra style once again out of Impact, and he does have a pretty ridiculous economy already, 62 drones.
Yeah, Impact has really slingshotted himself ahead after going for that super greedy opening. No punishment whatsoever from ByuN, and even though he has been unharassed, I mean, Impact is just in such a scary good position. Stim timing coming out here for ByuN as soon as that hits. Will it be in time to deal enough damage? You're going to wrap around and hit this 3rd base, but there's already a 4th up and on the way on the other side of the map. So This is going to be difficult to do, Valdez.
Oh, nice little run by. This is why I'm really liking Impact's play recently. He's just so fast and picks off the 2, and he gets the wraparound here. He's going to shut down this attack hardcore.
Oh, yeah, now all of a sudden ByuN at a supply deficit against his opponent. Impact with a nice 4-ling run by like you were talking about earlier, Valdez, and I think he might be looking to pull the trigger here any moment.
I love this guy's style. It reminds me a lot of guys like, you know, Lenok, like Life, you know, guys in the past that have always been super fast and they love to just get in your face. They don't play that passive Zerg style, that reactive Zerg style. They're the ones getting aggressive. It's always very entertaining for me to watch, at least. And ooh, he almost gets it.
Oh, sickest depot raise. Does still isolate his SCVs out on the map, so those will need to find some saviors, and indeed there they are.
The wall is not complete, and the Lings do survive.
You realize that was not going to be a tight wall up. Whoops.
This is the second platoon of Lings going for a wraparound along the north side.
Did we decide that was a platoon, Valdez? I feel like it's just a herd.
A herd of Lings?
Herd, yeah. That's an...
It's a murder of Lings. Lings murder stuff, right? We can use murder for that.
I mean, crows fly, so Lings do not. Wow, perfect focus fire yet again. But ByuN's multitasking really being kind of pulled apart here. The workers will evacuate safely. Oh, wow, nice Baneling hit, but does save all those workers. So still the army supply pretty even. Worker supply as well. But there's a 10 worker difference. Mules, man, they work pretty well.
Pretty good unit to have, I've heard. Now, the only thing is that I want Impact to actually close this game out. This is what he showed against Bunny. He's like...
Looks very similar.
I'm ahead. I get this nice composition out, but then I don't get my upgrades. I forget my upgrades. I don't expand fast enough. I don't get my new tech. I don't get an infestation pit when I'm massively far ahead. That's going to be a huge Baneling hit, though, from the north. And so far, he's doing okay with this composition, but I don't want to see him go off the creep here. Okay.
Ta-da! Going off the creep. And in fact, actually, fewer Widow Mines burrowed than I expected, but 2 at the bottom of the ramp. We'll see if they get any friendly fire done. No. Both of them die instantly, and lots of Hydras and Banelings rolling out across the map towards ByuN's third.
Turns out this is ByuN's only army, and Impact actually has a very good read of where ByuN is right now. Coming up the ramp, though, with his Hydras, he is going way far with this one. Big Widowmine hit, but still not too much here for ByuN.
And ByuN is really just going to have to micro his butt off. Doesn't raise either depot, and continually kiting backwards. He has killed most of the Banelings, but there are still a couple left over. Pulling the boys to try to push Impact back. ByuN will take lots of losses.
This is going to be huge. The Lings coming in, too, to help out. And you can see the supply difference already. So far ahead after this is Impact. Still no third base has been landed after having to evacuate. And Impact, he's not done yet. Here come 15 more.
Yeah, Impact 4 bases just completely up and running. Massive amounts of drones fueling this incredible economy has just been channeled into so many Banelings and Zerglings and Hydras, just about everything he wants.
That orbital, oh wow, okay. Some pretty sick Widowmine hits. But at the end of it, it looks like there are just too many Banelings.
Indeed, there are.
A lot of supporting units here.
And wow, this is really going to be tough to defend against. Probably the nail in the coffin. I mean, ByuN somehow just has barely enough. Took a little bit of friendly fire there, but I mean, he's going to hold Impact back for now.
He's holding on by a thread. The thinnest thread you can find. The silk thread from the deepest parts of Asia, and I don't think it's gonna get him back into this one.
I mean, I feel like we are supposed to do what all good casters are taught to, and if you look at the supply right now, he is being over doubled up, and I mean, ByuN fighting valiantly. He's just never giving up, but in the end, it will be Impact taking game number 3.
I really like this guy the more I see him. I was like a nervous parent earlier when I'm like, Impact Don't go off the creep. It's dangerous out there. You might get Widow Mines, and that's actually how I felt when I was casting that, because I'm excited for this guy's play. He's showing a lot of great stuff. It's just, again, you think about Thursday, his matches against Bunny. I'm like, you had so many opportunities, and it seems like in the span of just a couple of days, just Friday and today, he is actually challenging ByuN here in SSL Challenge. That's what it's all about.
I guess that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Good one, Valdez. Figured it out. Well, I guess ByuN's going to have to figure out something, either a way to avoid getting early all-in or get a scout out there to see exactly how greedy your opponent's opener is, because I feel like ByuN, or Impact rather, got away with murder that game. Not offensive murder, but economic murder, where he built, what was it, 3-hatch gas pool?
Yeah.
That's just ludicrously greedy, guys. I mean, there's just so many builds that dies to. So, yeah, no punishment for Impact, and in the end, he is able to punish ByuN and take us to a game number 4.
And this is going to be a cool one. It's going to be on Abyssal Reef. I do remember the last 2 maps in the pool, Abyssal Reef and then Overgrowth, will finish out the series for these 2 guys, and it's going to be a more defensive one. And if Impact wants to go a bit more greedy on this map, I guess he can, but I'm sure that ByuN is going to be looking out for that kind of thing here in game number 4.
Here we go. Game number 4, starting up on Abyssal Reef. We're going to fly into the base of our blue Terran player, spawning the lower right-hand side of Abyssal Reef. Representing Team Expert, it is ByuN.
And his opponents, up in the top left, this is Impact from Dead Pixels. Man, if he could take out ByuN tonight, that would be a huge win for him.
Certainly an
for
upset.
Dead Pixels.
Definitely a big move, also considering that this is stage 2 of the playoffs, and especially because it's the best of 5. Like, this is where you really have to, if you're an underdog and you want to beat one of the best players in the world, you really have to find not just 1 or 2 good games. It is full 3 victories that you'll need to advance.
Yeah, he's on the cusp of it here. I do want to point out that every time ByuN makes a wall below his main ramp, he loses the game. The one game that he did not make that wall, he did win. And here on Abyssal Reef, of course, it's
back on
nearly
the high ground.
impossible to make that wall.
Oh, yeah, no. Show me games you guys win against good players that have where you low ground wall off. That is difficult to do, at least on this map. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the opening builds. We don't have that same greedy opener for Impact. In fact, this one is a very aggressive opener with a pool before hatchery. And, I didn't catch that this was a 13-12 Valdez, but it is, this is going to be pretty rough to deal with. Those are very fast Zerglings. Very early Zerglings.
Yeah.
They're not fast yet.
They're still slow. We are upgrading that right now, but eventually. I don't think this was the 13-12, just based on the timing, but definitely did commit to those 4 links, and he's trying to avoid the Reaper by going towards the left side, following that Overlord path, and hoping that he doesn't run into it, trying to get to that CC.
Reaper scouting around, just seeing what his little Reaper eyes can see. He will be back home, so these 4 Zerglings shouldn't, be able to get in and do too much. I do like that Impact is committing for these. And okay, ByuN should need to scout down there.
Sees it. Does he go right away? Yes, he does. Here he comes.
Dun, 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 dun.
He was waiting for this scout.
Oh, man,
the
perfect
timing.
timing.
Is gonna be awesome.
Look at that. Oh, it's just so beautiful to watch now. Reaper in here will save the SCV for just a little bit. Needs to target that one down, and I believe the SCV did in fact die. I wasn't watching the supply, but no.
Close.
Perfect control. Meanwhile, back in the main, somehow a mule died in the middle of nowhere.
Might have expired.
Yeah, but it expired so far away from the mineral line.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, but well, ByuN successfully erects his natural expansion and has that going on. You ever notice that when an orbital command or a planetary fortress is morphing, it looks like the opening to Game of Thrones? It's like
where the
buildings
pieces come out of the ground,
Yeah.
the buildings, yeah.
buildings like da da da, and then it keeps rising up there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Actually, somebody made a StarCraft Game of Thrones opening. If you guys have not seen that, it is so well done. Big fan.
Yeah.
Just finally finished catching up with that the other day. Super excited for the final episode of the season.
Yeah, that's going to come out tomorrow, I guess. But for us, it's like Monday morning, kind of, at like 8 a.m. or something like that. But definitely all the casters out here do watch that. So we'll all be...
Most recent episode was Hot Fire, or Cold Fire, as the case may be.
Well.
Either way, no spoiler alerts here, guys. Wow, nice Widow Mine. Killing the Overlord. Sick action. This is why we don't talk about the game. There's actually not a whole lot going on.
He killed it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Instead of watching Game of Thrones tomorrow, you know what I'll be doing, Valdez?
What's that?
I'm going to be watching Conor McGregor fight a
What time is
clearly
that on?
inferior opponent. No, versus Floyd Mayweather. I think it's at 10 a.m. here.
Oh, okay.
You are welcome to join. Me and the rest of the casters are going to kind of hang out and watch it.
Where are you guys going?
There's a place over in like a HBC. There's a expat bar that has a big sports broadcast setup.
Cool.
Gonna be super sick.
10 a.m. is kind of early.
It is a little bit early, but see, this is where the shoe is on the other foot. It's like, well, it may be a little bit rough time for everybody out there to watch SSL or GSL, but if we have to watch North American events, it is at a struggle-licious time.
Before we came out here, we were watching Korean events. We've all gone through the training that is required to be a caster.
I've paid my dues time after time, Valdez.
Well, we do have this attack come in with a bunch of Hellbats and the Banshees, and doesn't look like Impact is all too ready for this. Is almost able to snipe that Banshee, but not quite.
No, that's actually getting a lot of damage done here. His Queens do not have infinite transfuses. He has to morph that Overseer right after he needed it. Definitely lots of damage being done. Queens starting to fall, and every drone forced away from that third base.
Seems like this time around, ByuN had enough of Impact shenanigans with his greedy droning and did go for this very aggressive attack. Is it going to kill Impact here? It's going to be close.
To shreds, you say.
Yeah.
ByuN's certainly getting that message and dealing quite a bit of damage. Now, he is going to be cleaned up, so the third base survives for now, but still just getting lots of damage done out there, thinning out Impact's forces, and especially that drone count, not as explosive as it was in game number 3.
We got a Spire on the way as the follow-up. Might just be a bit of a, weird kind of gimmick, like a desperate situation for him right now, trying to find some kind of tag, but he is going to be seen with this Banshee. Kind of click on that.
Incredible job just avoiding that Spore Crawler. ByuN, it's almost like he knows the exact range, is just skirting barely outside the range of it, and actually forcing another Spore Crawler to be made. But I didn't catch if you saw the Hydra or the Spire.
Yeah,
he did. Okay, yeah.
His Banshee just flew directly over it. He might have. Maybe he thought that was a Spore Crawler.
Yeah,
that was
I actually thought it was a Spore Crawler, but then in retrospect, I was like, wait a second. That's a Spire. You can't crawl the Spire anywhere, so it's a clearly inferior unit.
What if the Spire could fly?
Then it would basically be Night Elves, right?
Do they have a building that flies?
It doesn't fly, but their buildings can like uproot and move.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, if you've never been Ancient of War Chi, is like that is the. I have nightmares about that every once in a while.
Is that like tower rushing in Age of Empires?
Well, kind of. There's also tower rushing in Warcraft, but yeah, it was a different time, Valdez.
Still waiting on Warcraft 4.
I'm telling you, man, it's out there somewhere. I'm still waiting on the sequel to the Warcraft movie. Not actually. I'm not sure how many people are actually waiting for that, but
I was like, oh wow, I met someone that actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was okay.
Well, I never played Warcraft, so I never played World of Warcraft, so I didn't really speak to me quite as much as everyone else.
I see.
But oh, look at that! ByuN built a wall.
Well done.
Indeed.
Give him a pat on the head.
I didn't count the number of supply depots, but I'm guessing that wall costs about 700 minerals.
Let me try to count it on the mini-map. I think it's 6. We'll see if I'm right later on.
Well, there's overhead costs and fees. You gotta get people to
It's true.
deal with that one. All right, ByuN stimming again, trying to run away from the banelings on the ground. Whoa, hot pickup. Lifts up, gets out, but does see the mutas on the map.
Yeah, does get that information. He's taking his own 4th, and ByuN, in terms of everything right now, is ahead, basically. He's got this 4th base ahead on time. He has his upgrades ahead. He's putting on more pressure. He's got more map control than Impact. And Impact going for the Muta style here is going to be hurting for gas. So I'm sure that he's going to be lacking on the banelings if he's overmaking these Mutas here.
I mean, we'll see what truly overmaking mutas looks like. If you want to combine them with your forces and let everything else tank everything else, then they will get a lot of value. But with Widowmine hits like that, there won't be a whole lot left over here for Impact.
Yeah, I think Impact had to buy a little bit more time rather than going before the baneling speed was done. ByuN at this point, he is so ready for these attacks. Widowmines in the front and the back, and a nice split.
I was watching a ByuN stream a couple days ago, and he'll like triple hotkey his Marine force at the front so that he can split it faster. It's just really impeccable control. So behind this, like you mentioned, Valdez, 4th base just now coming up. It'll be morphed into a planetary fortress with missile turrets coming up. A Thor out and on the way with more Widow Mines. So ByuN will just be in a fantastic defensive position. I don't know, this is not looking quite as good for Impact, unless he hits before everything finishes, and then it looks great. All right, ta-da!
He did it! Is just going to be able to kill 6 SCVs and a couple of missile turrets, so not bad. Definitely a successful counterattack, but will he have the answer to this attack that is at his front door?
Oh, look at that, the perfect split, but now actually moving forward, needs to throw those Widow Mines up front. A few of them will get taken out. Oh my god, that almost went off. But look at it. Okay, I'm not sure why he's stacking Marines up at the front.
Really good muta control here from Impact. You know, just making the most of what he can. He's made so many mutas in this game. He's lacking the banelings, but he's making the mutas work for him. No splits here from ByuN.
Oh wow, those are actually really great baneling hits. Now the Widow Mines actually do go off to great effect. Muta's taking critical damage, but more damage being done to ByuN, and actually splits the mutas away. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do it, but yeah, Thor coming out though. This should be a.
But the Lings coming in, though, they're going to help out. The magic box. Hot pickup, though, is going to keep that alive.
Oh, no. Every Muta would have died there, but it doesn't matter. Too much damage done, and ByuN takes everything out to even up the series at 2-2.
Quick GG by Impact. He knew that he had lost all of his Mutas and essentially didn't have much back at home. Still no 4th base. That was just like the last stand for him. It was very well executed, the last stand, but the way that he got there was also not very great. So ByuN 2 for 2 when he makes his buildings on the in his main. That's something, right? That's good.
Sure. No, I guess it's kind of a unique characteristic of both of our games. I think the big the big takeaway is that Impact needs a little bit of something special, some special Szechuan sauce on his builds. Either he gets really greedy and doesn't get punished, or he gets very aggressive and doesn't get punished. But clearly there is a window where he is vulnerable early on, and ByuN has been able to find that and exploit it. So coming into our final map of the series, ByuN kind of uncharacteristically taken it down to the wire, but Impact has shown some great strategies.
ByuN looking a little bit angry as we go into Overgrowth for map number 5. And, well, speaking of that player, he is down here in the bottom left. In the blue, it is ByuN.
And his opponent on the upper right-hand side of the map is our purple Zerg player, Dead Pixels Impact. Blowing his hair out of his face.
Yeah. Also trying to blow ByuN out of the water with another one of these 3 hats before pool builds.
Yeah, but where truly will this hatchery be built, Valdez?
At the 3rd base.
Yes, but which third base? Okay, there you
At
go.
this third base.
Okay, I was gonna say he was way out there, and
Yeah.
you know, Overgrowth and Odyssey both have weird places you can build your hatcheries, and Impact just found one. So I think he might go for this same build again. Yeah, there's no gases, no pools. I think we're gonna see 3 hatch before pool again. Yeah, here comes the drone.
It's what worked for him in game number 3, and he's returning to it. The funny thing is that Overgrowth is not a big map like Ascension to Ire. I
Yeah.
think he's just trying to abuse the fact that ByuN wouldn't expect this kind of build, and ByuN going for gas first should have a lot of, you know, harassment units out on the map fast at least.
Well, maybe in Wings of Liberty, Reapers were good at killing buildings, but this iteration they're not quite so great, so they'll need a little bit of help to take down these hatcheries, but of course it'll be about the drones at the hatcheries, and I think this is, let me see, was that gas put down in the main? Yeah, so yeah, 3 hatch gas before pool. Impact, another greedy build.
This time he's not going to have his Overlord sniped, as ByuN is just playing it normal. He's playing the natural Terran style. None of that unnatural 2 Marine starts. Is going to scout the Overlord path here with his Reaper.
Yeah, but he's coming back to look for either proxy hatcheries or just make sure that there's nothing too odd on his side of the map. But he needs to get to the other side of the map, and you know, he should be thinking, hey, you know, I lost that one game to Impact where he did get super greedy, and I didn't punish him. Well, a build like this is not necessarily going to, you know, be able to flexibly react to that.
I think it's the mental game, right? You get aggressively owned by Impact in game number 1, and it kind of sets the tone. That's like, okay, I'm better than this player, but he can't beat me with an aggressive build. So it's like ByuN just playing it safe, trying to scout all of his bases and make sure he's not dying to anything. But meanwhile, Impact's getting very far ahead.
Certainly is. Now, he still does not have a whole lot of attacking units, so he will need to maybe switch that out and create a show of force that at least stands up to anything ByuN puts out, which looks like it's going to be Widow Mines this time around.
ByuN going for different builds in every game, I think.
You saw a little bit of reaction there from ByuN's face, seeing that third and the fact that it was already starting to be saturated. So I think he will be aware of what is happening.
Ooh, the Reaper dying.
Yeah, maybe starting to feel the pressure because of that, because of the econ start that Impact was able to go for. Here's the first drop coming out, but not only is it just scouted there and forced to drop and try to deal with those Zerglings, but I mean, this is just not going ByuN's way from the start.
Look at how much time this is buying. I mean, you were talking about the information. It's also a huge delay, and he's just like chilling back here. He supply dropped.
Wow.
Ugh. He's going for an armory though. He's trying to use that same kind of Hellbat pressure that he used in game 4.
Cute micro there to stop that Overlord from getting in for any information, but lots of Zerglings out in the second round. Drones behind this though, so it's not like it's all in or anything crazy like that, but just making sure that ByuN is not allowed to build an on-location third base and keep pressuring this natural.
4 Hellions in position. Impact going for a bit of a split here, trying to get to the main. Oh, he gets in. Uh-oh. That will mean a scout on this armory in the main and should give Impact a lot of information to stop this push.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you can delay the Hellbats from getting over to your side of the map, it's just so much value. Everything's seen. It's looking pretty good once again with the same strategy, Valdez.
Yeah, so only Lings here. He doesn't want to throw down a Ro.2 or anything like that. Trying to defend with just Ling Queen, perhaps go for some kind of surrounds. Definitely Overgrowth is a map you can attempt to pull that off on.
It's interesting you call this Ling Queen. I always called it Queen Ling.
Really?
Yeah, like, you know, Baneling.
Queen Ling. Like Ling Bane or something like that?
Well,
that's the way that I call it, like Ling Queen, Ling Bane.
I always called it Ling Bling.
Oh,
it
yeah.
rolls off the tongue.
That's true. 4 drones did go down.
I love these Zerglings on patrol, just kind of running everywhere they need to be.
They got work to do.
Yeah, you do
They're
indeed.
busy.
That killing auto turrets. Wow, 7 drones. Oh, okay, well, those are the most effective auto turrets I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Back at a home behind this, ByuN is transitioning that big macro burst. He's about to finish his command center. He's got two reactors, 2 barracks, and a whole bunch of Marines and Hellbats pushing the front.
Yeah, you could see that Impact was forced to respond to this attack that was coming over, and he did do well against the frontal attack, but losing 7 drones definitely hurts. It definitely kind of puts us more on even footing, as ByuN did go for his own 3rd base, his own 3rd CC, straight after this push.
There's Scan, reaching high ground, trying to kill off as many creep tumors as possible. Gets a few back at home. Let's see how well ByuN is able to expand here, because Impact has shown a committal to this counter harass kind of style. So I want to be careful as now ByuN tries to take his 3rd base. This is the awkward standoff, yeah.
But they're not looking at each other.
Okay.
Is he looking at me? Someone tell me if he's looking at me.
If I can't see you, you can't see me.
Ah, yes. Dog logic.
Yeah, also private caboose, but either way, a nice barrier formed up at the front by the Hellbats. Marines stutter stepped off to the side, killing these Zerglings. They're running in 1 by 1. ByuN getting insane value and inevitably pushed back by an insanely high queen number. Okay, well, all those Zerglings just got put into the ByuN blender.
They got put into the Byumpster.
Is that where you put them? Okay.
Yes, into the Byumpster. But, yeah, definitely a good trade for ByuN at the end of it all. His 3rd base was a bit delayed, but he has that out now and can even add a 3rd CC sometime within the next 2 minutes. Go for his 4th. He has all of the pressure. It's feeling a lot like game number 4, just that the push came a bit later with more Marines with stim this time.
Now, what angle is ByuN going to choose to go for this? He only has, what is it, 2 Widow Mines? Are there the Overseers out? That Impact would need to push into this. He doesn't have them just yet. Coming up with another force designed to pressure the 4th base, and I think at least that one will do well. The drop in the main also poised to deal a substantial amount of damage. Stim, micro in, try to snipe one of these queens, gets one, picks up, gets out, 4th base. Not going to be harassed. Great Baneling hit. Pushes ByuN back, but oh, look at those cheeky Widow Mines.
Burrow as fast as you can. Okay, there you go.
Okay, you too. Oh my goodness, uses one to bait for the other.
Yeah. I do like the preparation from Impact, having his units in position. It seems like he read the fact that ByuN was going to go for those drops very well. We didn't actually get to see that fight that was going on, but either way, Impact is keeping up with the multitasking of ByuN, and he has successfully made a 4th base. Now, can he get it up and saturated in mining and then defense that? That's the real question.
Well, behind this, ByuN is taking his 3rd base. He's got it totally locked down. The depot wall is up and done, but here comes ByuN's real attempt at pushing ByuN's forces, or Impact's attempt at pushing ByuN's forces back. It will not be enough.
Yeah. Impact, it seems like he's always at a lack of banelings. And, okay, here we go. Pushed into a corner is ByuN.
Whoa, sick Baneling hit there up top. Only about half of that gets picked up, and with one of these medevacs getting taken out, the Immutas are actually trying to overrun ByuN's force, and they'll take everything down.
Yeah, nicely done to totally clean that up. Can go for his own little counterattack, perhaps keep ByuN on his side of the map and retake that 4th base. Looks like something is burrowed for ByuN over at that 4th base, though probably a Widow Mine.
Ooh,
so it needs to deal with that first.
Not getting value from those Widow Mines. They get taken out before they can ever fully realize their true potential. And here come these mutas, really a lot of damage being done. And even if ByuN tries to pull SCVs to repair this, I mean, even then they just die. So thankfully he does have an army back at home to defend this 4th base. But the 4th is actually just going to be his natural being floated out. So still not ideal ByuN's position.
Yeah, and does get that down. It looks like Impact is going to take the other 4th location because, oh boy.
Whoa, okay.
Because Widow Mines.
Hover
yeah.
over those Mutas. See how damaged they all are. Why doesn't he have an Overseer with his Mutas? Okay, it's just off there to the side. He's actually going to get it picked off. Well, that's not good. Those Mutas are going to run into every Widow Mine now.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, there's definitely a lot of promise in Impact's play, and he has kept up with ByuN tonight, but there are just too many mistakes that he makes in certain situations, especially in the mid-game when he goes into this kind of play. Doesn't seem to make enough, like his army composition is slightly off, and he just takes too much damage from harass, and it's just little things like that will give you trouble against a top-level player like ByuN, of course.
I mean, for ByuN, you definitely do expect him to be that top-level player, to have an advantage, to be the overdog. And he's certainly living up to that, right? He's got a huge supply lead. He's got his infrastructure back at home totally locked down. But Impact is just doing such a great job kind of pulling him in as many directions as possible.
Well, he's got his Mutas in a corner now, totally surrounded.
Oh, so many Mutalisks getting picked off. And, you know, finally they will kind of run themselves out of that corner. And, wow, there's actually no Widow Mines here at the Natural. Or, well, also no missile turrets.
Yeah, there are a bunch of Marines that are running as fast as the Mutas are flying somehow. The power of drugs. But at the end of it all, only 5 Mutas get out, and that's not the position that Impact wants to be in. Funnily enough, he is remaking a bunch of his Mutas, but already with Thors and a bunch of Widow Mines out, I don't think that will be the answer here.
3-3 about to complete, though, and that's the big deal here for ByuN. That makes just every one of these Marines and Marauders on the ground just, oh, so strong. And I mean, Mutas in the air. I'm all for Muta upgrades, right? You can get that +1 air weapons, +1 armor, whatever you want to get. You'll just never be able to deal with 3-3 Marines in any capacity.
Never will. They are going to help out in counterattacks, which I suppose he's attempting to do right now. Is going to take out the missile turrets, but does lose a bunch in the process. Takes out that orbital, which is a nice snipe, but you guys can take a look at the supply. Here is where ByuN swings the hammer, uses that hydraulic press to crush this nerd.
Will Impact blend? We're about to find out tonight. The blending of the nerd. It's happening before our eyes.
There you go.
That's the sound of an Impact puree. ByuN.
I see you were watching Tasteless's cast today. That was a good one.
The lever to puree.
Yeah.
Spins him right round, and that's what it looks like. Look over to the booth. ByuN's drinking him down. How he got from that booth to that, I don't know. Happened
somehow,
in game.
some way. But you could see the look on his face was very akin to the face that we saw on Bunny on Thursday. It was just like this kind of face of like dissatisfaction, right? Where he's like,
he's like,
I won, but
have won that more smoothly.
Yeah.
Happens
oh boy,
once
I love it.
Every series.
Except this guy was super slow. This guy being Rogue.
Oh yeah.
But the FD was just like, whoosh,
oh yeah,
flying across. Fly better fly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Rogue is on Jin Air, so
that was pretty slow for a plane, though.
He's gonna
spread
his arms, run around like JJ the jet plane.
Yeah.
That's gonna do it for our first best of 5, guys. We'll see you back in just a few minutes for our second series of the night.